Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
All right, we're finally here. Not only has Shedeur Sanders played in a preseason game, but the old 22 is now available. So let's go through it. Got 25 clips here we're going to look at from the quarterback from the Cleveland Browns on Friday. Let's check it out. I think it's a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of encouraging stuff. We're going to start here in chronological order. First pass of the game to Deontay Johnson. I think if there's one thing Shedeur is going to want to correct outside of like the couple of wild scramble plays that he had later on, and we'll highlight those when those happen. I think the one thing Shedeur even talked about in his post game was like, hey, you know, he wanted to get back in the flow, back in the rhythm of things. I think throws like this, and this isn't the biggest example of it, but this is like a little high, right? I think throws like this where he's usually able to hit the strike zone, you know, he wants to be able to hit that strike zone a little cleaner, right? He had a couple of throws where I'm like, okay, he didn't hit where he wanted to. And he talked about after the game giving himself a C+ grade. I think he's thinking of throws like this when he gives himself that C+ grade. Obviously, he's being hard on himself. But yeah, just, you know, little off here. Deontay still should have probably brought this in, though, right? Like, yeah, it's a little high. Yeah, it's not where Shedeur wanted to put it. But Deontay should be able to bring that in. I mean, it's a former all-pro wide receiver, right? Like, you should be able to bring that in, no problem. But, hey, he's probably a little rusty, too. It's been a while since he's played football. Wasn't the cleanest break, too. He kind of slipped out of his break. So, you know, not a successful play here, but nothing I see here is like very concerning or anything like that. I just move on to play number 2. This here throws the curl route. I don't believe this wide receiver does a good job here because he's supposed to take this one to the sticks in this situation. It's third down, right? Supposed to take this one to the sticks. He's right behind it. Ends up getting stopped short of it. Just take the extra step, right? Know where you're at, line yourself up, and then settle in. Or, yeah. Yeah, so he's supposed to take that one a little bit further. All right, next play here. Legs a little bit here, right? And this is a big question of Shedeur Sanders for a number of reasons. One, it did not appear that he was exceptionally fast on tape at times. There was a lot of concern about what his 40 time would have looked like if he would have ran. You know, I've heard speculation from he runs 5 flat, closer to a Jacoby Brissett, to you know, he runs 4.7, right? Like there was a wide range of speculation on it. I think he's closer to a low 4.8 after watching him run here. And I think that's good because also another part of his speed speculation and why people were concerned about his athleticism was, you know, the reports were coming out of Colorado that he played at about 180 last year, right? Now he's playing at 212. So he's playing at a new weight, a drastically new weight. And, you know, how is that going to affect his athleticism? It does not seem like the weight that he's picked up to play in the NFL has affected his athleticism. I would argue he looks a little bit more athletic. But again, this is preseason. Like, I don't want to get too excited because it's not like he's running away from, like, you know, all pro edges here, right? But this is good. This is good. I think the burst there, right, that quick acceleration when he turns his corner is what gets me excited. Because look at 33, look at 12. And then you see right here, he burst away. He can create that short-term. So play action boot, rolls around, gets his eyes forward. It's not a boot, my bad. I don't know why I said boot. But play action, gets around. The big thing here, right, that he has to get used to, that I think is good, is having his back turned to the defense for a period of time, right? So back turn, flip around, reset, find what you need to find. He works through. I think what he wanted to go to was maybe this dig or maybe Deontay Johnson. He realizes two has Deontay held up. He holds there, which I think is a good decision. I think he did want to go to Deontay, but Deontay didn't get clean off the top of this route, right? So Deontay gets held up by two. And then he stumbles here, but stays with the structure of the play well enough to see this linebacker come up and then just simply make a nice little throw here. But he kind of overshoots it. So didn't get the result that he wanted, but the process I think is really good. And sometimes the result's going to matter, like regular season, playoffs. Obviously, results are at a premium in the regular season and playoffs. Training camp, preseason, the process is at a premium, right? You want good process. You worry about good result in the game versus like the second and third stringers. He had some success rolling away from this, right? And, back to the earlier clip, that was against first string. I know I misspoke and said it was second team, but it was against some first stringers in Carolina's defense. So, he can run away. He can use his athleticism. I don't think that's a bad thing for him, right? It's just, are you athletic enough to do this at an NFL level? No. Like, you see, that second twirl, they're going to get you on that second twirl. This is the stuff that you don't want to see him do, right? He did this against BYU too, in his last college game. But yeah, this is the stuff that he has to iron out. Your Shedeur, so they get what they want. Also, another thing to keep in mind, this player here, I believe, is what you would assume would be the flat defender, which would be in this space, right? That's the only defender that's really going to mess up this play. He blitzes. So once Shedeur sees this guy blitz, the ball, he should know, I got this matchup one-on-one with this tight end. Get that ball out, right? And I'm sure they'll work on him with this, right? This was one of the few things he needs to clean up that popped up during the game. But yeah, they get exactly what they want. Corner blitzes. This is the right play call for this situation. You get exactly what you want here. Ball got to get out. Ball's got to get out. Right? Can't go to scramble drill here. Just stand in there, make that throw. Not to Shedeur's credit, there were moments later on in the game where he did it multiple times in this game. That's why you want him to do it. All right. This right here looks bad on television. I think this is more on 87 than it is on 12, if I'm being honest with you. This is a choice route. I think Shedeur is anticipating that he's going to keep rounding out this choice route. And I think he's doing this strictly off of how Sal Canella's body language looks here. You don't round this out like this unless you're going to run the out. I don't know why you would stop there. And I don't know how many of you guys watch spring football, but this is a thing that Sal Canella does. Where quarterbacks hate him on option routes. Because I've seen Luis Perez do this multiple times trying to get the ball to him. But yeah, I think this is on Sal. You shouldn't sell so hard that you fake out your own quarterback. If you commit to the out, just go to the out, man. Especially when you're not Travis Kelce. You're Travis Kelce, okay, yeah, you can work with the quarterback, let them know this is how you're going to do. But when you're the fourth guy on the depth chart, you commit this hard, just run the route. What kind of curl is that? If that's a curl, it's a dog shit curl. Just run the out. And if Shedeur looks at it, thinks he's going to run the out too. I mean, it's third down. Why would you run the curl on third down? Yeah, I think this is more on Canella. I think this is more on Canella right here, right? Because why would you run the curl there? That would make no sense. Yeah, that's on Canella. I mean, and just so you know, that's where the first progression. This is a great catch here by Luke Floria. Right, this is a little bit behind. And again, I think Shedeur has a lot of throws. Well, not a lot. A handful of throws here that he wants back. I think this is one of them. Luke got him, bailed him out of that, right? Made a great catch. So ends up being a third down conversion. So, I'm sure he's very happy with 37 there. I thought this was Shedeur's most impressive throw of the game. When you combine process and everything, like the touchdown throw was the most accurate throw he made. I think this was the most impressive play for him. Deep in his own end zone, right? Stands tall, big balls here, stands tall, does not flee from this pocket because he wants the window, takes the backside dig and drills it. Boom, right to Laverton. That was the big boy throw, right? Like, that's a big boy throw. That's big boy process. That's big boy poise. That's a big boy throw. And like getting to it, right? A lot of quarterbacks in this kind of offense, we've seen it, are scared of making that kind of decision. You cannot, I know people think of Kevin's offense and go, oh, well, you're going to throw a lot of checkdowns. It's not really what the offense is. You can't play in Kevin's offense and be scared, right? When somebody plays in this offense and they're scared, right? Deshaun Watson, DTR in 2024, played very scary football. When you are in this offense and you play scared, it's not going to look great. So you have to have some like big balls in this offense, right? Some confidence. Standing in there, throwing a ball with anticipation. Look how that ball meets him and he meets the ball, right? He throws that ball to a spot. He trusts his read. He trusts the play. And that's a big play right there. Because let's imagine this is a real game, right? The Browns are already backed up on their 5-7 yard line, right? Now you're in a position where you're going to have to give the defense real shit field goal positioning, right? Well, not field goal, field positioning, my bad. So what you want to do here, if you're the Browns on a third, yeah, I mean, there's really not much here there. So like, just dump it off. What is it, third down? I get why you want to hold on to the ball here, but just play field position at this point, right? Manage the game a little bit. Yeah, like, honestly, even if you're going to, like, here, I don't mind this, stepping out. You want to step out, get that ball to that running back, or just, like, run this or throw it out of bounds, live to play another day, right? But if you get tackled all the way back here, or God forbid, like you get tackled and you drop the ball and it's a fumble, all of a sudden you just screwed the team over, right? To him. And I think the reason that stood out to him is Kevin loves when somebody can create big plays, right? I think that's something that Kevin and maybe even Andrew Berry like about a quarterback that I don't think a lot of people anticipate. Of course, Kevin likes it when quarterbacks can do what he tells them to do. But I think Kevin really does appreciate a quarterback being able to create a big play, right? Nothing's there, create a big play. I think if you ask him what separates a decent quarterback from a franchise quarterback, he's going to say that playmaking ability, right? That ability to create out of nothing, that ability to take that burden off of me as a play caller and say, hey, look, there's nothing here working. You make something happen. That's what makes a franchise quarterback, right? That was the main thing that he praised about what Deshaun Watson was able to do when he was in Houston, and what they wanted to replicate with him in Cleveland. Obviously, that didn't happen. Kevin likes that, right? It's notable. And if Shedeur continues to do stuff like this, he's going to move up the depth chart super fast, right? Because this is creating a big play. There's nothing here in the structure. Kevin knows there's nothing here in the structure. It's third down. Got to make something happen. Right? Like, there's nothing here to it, right? It seems like he is seeing things in real time, right? You know, look at him. He starts left on Canella. Canella doesn't get open. He rolls over, finds the next route, finds the next window he wants to attack, and anticipates that window. That's really good. That's really good. It's not simply he's making plays in the preseason because he's more talented than these guys. It's evidence of good process, good work, right? Him, Musgrave, Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Reese. This looks like a showcasing of really good work over the last 3 months with him, right? How fluid he looks in play action, how natural play action seems to look for him. This feels like this is a good combination of coaches, offense, everything around him, because it feels supernatural. Well, not supernatural, but it feels natural with Shedeur in this offense, right? The things that we're seeing that aren't great plays, right? The negative plays that we're seeing, it's because he's not getting the ball where he wanted that ball to be. And I'm not going to be too critical in the first preseason game of like your ability to consistently hit the strike zone, especially when, we're talking about Shedeur. He was one of the more accurate on-target passers as far as Corey Kinnon's charting goes. In college football this year, he was the most. And I think he was one of the most accurate in the last 5 years of him doing that charting. So we know that he's an accurate thrower, right? He's going to get this stuff kind of cleaned up. It's more of a question of like, hey, what's the process here? And this is an out route. He just throws this behind 81 that allows the DB to make a play on it. If he puts that ahead of him, I think that's going to be a fine play. It's going to be a completion here, right? So, that's fine there. Maybe he should have just looked for the curl too, but I can understand him being pretty sick of Sal Cannella at this point in the game and not really, checking for him because Sal had a couple of plays where you're like, what's he doing? He's bullshitting. So, back position. I think he loves quarterbacks who can make those kind of plays, create. He's always like super excited on the sideline whenever a situation like that happens. Think about the times where he's like been super happy with Deshaun or super happy with any of the quarterbacks on the sideline is when those kind of situations arises. Him being able to do that, if he can do that a couple of more times versus Philly, I think Kevin's gonna have a pretty easy decision on his hands about what he does as far as like him and Dylan, right? Because if Dylan's not doing that and Shedeur is, then that's going to ultimately make the difference. I know people are concerned that the Browns are going to be so stubborn that they're not going to give Shedeur a shot because they drafted Dylan in the 3rd round. But I would argue late 3rd round pick, second, 3rd round pick, not enough of a commitment to feel like you can't adjust on the fly if something else pops up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, pretty encouraging start by Shedeur Sanders here. And I think I would say I would be more encouraged by this than just a regular, he looked good in the preseason. I think there were things here where you're like, hey, there's actual development here. You can see that there were things he needs to work on in college that he's working on right now. And you can see what he does well, and you're putting him in new situations, and those new situations seem to fit him really well, like the play action stuff. When he's turning his back, rolling around. He seems really good at that, really natural at that. So I'm interested to see how much further you could push it if you're the Browns, right? Because this seems like a strength of his game. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Shedeur's first game. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.